僕を忘れないでほしいな。ついに帰ってきたぞ。
If there's one thing that separates Roy from the other Fire Emblem characters, it's high risk, high reward hype. Roy's somebody who can simply put, just blow up other characters in an instant, combo them to oblivion, and send them packing with his insane knockback. But as well, this can happen to Roy if he messes up. He's not the most consistent Fire Emblem character due to his hilt mechanic and due to being comboed so badly, but this very mechanic makes him a joy to watch and allows him to uniquely be a close-range Fire Emblem sword fighter. Roy in previous games was honestly really bad. In Melee, he was a direct downgrade Echo Fighter from Marth with less consistent hitboxes, less damaging combos, worse spacing, and a wet noodle sword that allowed your opponent to actually punish you almost every time you hit them, which just didn't really work out that well. With its return to Smash 4, he got a completely unique kit rework, which was really cool, but he still felt pretty bad in most people's hands. The way he moved just didn't quite work in that game, and his aerials were quite unsafe on shield, making it so that he wasn't that great close range, and he wasn't that great far range because his hilt mechanic didn't really allow that to happen, overall making him a bottom 10-ish type character in most tier lists. In Ultimate, Roy's gotten so many changes, and overall he just kind of actually fits into the game now. The new dash dancing works amazingly with his speed, he can space aerials on shield and actually be safe on hit, allowing him to apply a lot of close range pressure, and as well his swordness has overall a larger hilt hitbox, making that you can actually get the high damage and high knockback part of his sword a lot more consistently. Overall, the things that were just kind of okay about him in previous games kind of got maxed out to a 10, and many of his weaknesses actually got helped out quite a bit as well, making him, honestly, in my opinion, at least a top 15 rated character in this game. For more future info on Roy, his subscribers I'll be giving any updated information on him and of course every other character in Smash Ultimate to boot, along with a more advanced how-to Roy as time goes on. Anyways, here I'll be going over the most important things / the best parts about the character. Now I won't be going over all the character's frame data, but that'll all be linked down in the description below if you want to read up on it. Anyways, one of the simplest but biggest changes for Roy is that he's a lot faster in the air now, and notably a lot faster at the start of his dash on the ground. Now this is super important for Roy as it allows him to space a lot more precisely and quickly, get in a lot faster in order to hit his hilt more often, and overall follow up on a lot more combos that he just couldn't quite reach in the last game. Another huge thing this change does for Roy is give him a lot more potential offensive pressure, and that pressure actually as well got helped in many other ways through buffs. For example, one of his best close range tools, his jab, got straight up buffed in this game. Now it was already a great quick combo starter previously, but now it is just even better at comboing, and actually hits the combo sweet spot a lot more often as the sweet spot of Roy's sword is a lot bigger. Now jab can lead into things like side B at low percents, fair nair at mid percents, and reverse early rush back air high percents for a potential kill. Add this all to the fact that his nair leads perfectly into a jab a lot easier now, and you got yourself an amazingly quick tool that synergizes perfectly with his brand new speed. Speaking of his new pressure, the reduced landing lag on his aerials help a ton, because in the previous game he had just enough landing lag where you really couldn't use any of your aerials on the opponent's shield, otherwise you'd probably be punished. But in Ultimate, his spaced forward air and nair are now both actually safe on shield, even on the sour spot, letting you attack up close or using your moves spaced afar. All of his aerials got this treatment, and all of them are so much better now, allowing him to just A, be a lot more safe when approaching and when treating, and B, allowing him to have a little bit more combo potential. I mentioned earlier that Roy's sweet spot of his sword got a lot larger, which I'm going to say is definitely appreciated, but I should also mention that the sour spot is no longer nearly as punishable on most of his moves as it used to be, which is great as it allows you to just, if you want to, simply put, space normally like other sword characters. Now if you get the sour spot, great, you get stage control, you get a little bit of damage, it's really not that bad, and if you get the sweet spot, well, that's amazing as you get to likely start a combo, or deal a ton of damage, or just do a ton of knockback, or even end a stock. Overall, it's a lot less frustrating to play as Roy because of this change, and while it still can be a little bit of a pain when you keep getting that sour spot, this just lets you play a little bit less aggro all the time while still getting quite a bit of reward. Let's move on to some of his smaller changes. His forward tilt now kills even earlier and is even better at ledge trapping, which is great as it was already really good at both of those. It's still unsafe on shield, but it kind of does what it needs to. His dash attack has less lag, but you should probably still just use, a sliding forward tilt as it's just kind of better. And of course, his down tilt is now just honestly godlike on shield, making it a great poking tool you should use a lot on smaller characters, and as well, it combos a new dash attack at low percent if you hit the sweet spot, which is also really nice. As well, his forward smash, which was always godlike in the killing department, now comes out even faster, kills even earlier, and also has a even better hitbox. As well, Roy now actually has combos into this, like Nair 1 forward smash or sour spot up air into forward smash, making it a lot more consistent to connect into compared to most other smash attacks, and overall, in my opinion, making it one of the best smashes in the entire game. I also wanted to mention that Roy has a pretty good grab game still, even though most characters kind of got theirs nerfed. Now this is really important for Roy in specific, as it means that your enemy always has to fear a close range mix-up from an attack or a grab, and it makes him a lot less easy to just shield all the time. From his grab, Roy has down throw, nair, and up air, which are great, back throw, which can then be tech chased on a platform into a forward smash or a back air, and up throw, which will kill at around 180-ish%. They're not the best, but they're pretty darn good for a sword fighter, and that's kind of all you can really ask for a character like Roy. Finally, I wanted to mention the special move that got the best change for Roy, that being his side B, the double edge dance, which is honestly the best one in the entire game now. It's much better than Crom's, much better than Lucina's and Mars. It's so good. At low percents, of course, you can do the variant that everybody can do, side, down, 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 and do a good amount of damage. But more importantly than that, at high percents, you can actually do side, up, up, side, and get a consistent kill near the edge at around 70 to 80%. Now, this kills earlier than limit cross slash, and doesn't require a charge, and is not necessarily safe on shield, but not that risky. Overall, making it a stupidly good kill move in addition to all the other kill options Roy has, from bair to nair to forward smash to F-tilt. And yeah, in general, with this added to his kit, he will not be struggling when he's trying to end stocks. The main mechanic for Roy that you're going to have to base your playstyle around is going to be the hilt mechanic of his sword, which essentially makes it that the inner part of his sword does a lot of damage and a lot of knockback, while the outer part is a little bit weak. Now this makes Roy's playstyle quite a bit different from the other sword fighters, as he actually benefits from going in close to his opponent and actually approaching with them, as you know, his hitboxes actually combo into each other a lot better while going towards his opponent than going away. While he still does have the benefit of a sword and disjointed hitboxes, oftentimes you're going to be going quite a bit more hand than other characters, and that's just kind of how Roy works. With that in mind, Roy still can and has to space well with his sword. Of course, when he hits his opponent, he wants to be close, but a lot of his moves do take a little while to come out, and this creates a situation for Roy where you want to be up close and aggressive, but you also want to be pretty patient in your approaches. Just remember as Roy not to be too reckless and actually try to create openings with really good spacing and timing, rather than just hopping in and running around with a sword, hoping that flying that all over the place will get you some good results. I should mention that Roy, while of course needing to space well to not be punished, does actually have a really good close-up pressure game, which other swordies don't really have way too much. He can easily cross up shields with his nair at close range, use a tomahawk grab into his great combos, or do a spaced fair into jab, or even just a spaced fair into a running away mix-up, and then punishing their potential punish on you. He has a lot of close range mix-ups like this, just make sure that you aren't being stuffed while trying to jump into the range to use these things. Continuing on with the things you want to focus on as Roy, focus on a lot of juggling. Pick a platform stage or any stage we can get under your opponent, throw them above you, and hit them again and again and again with your speed and with your up air, as you essentially just can do that versus a lot of characters. It is very good. As well, I'm going to say Roy actually has pretty decent ledge trapping, so try to get your opponent off the cliff and use your forward tilt and down tilt to hit them off as much as you possibly can. As well, if you hit your opponent off the stage and you're really feeling risky, you can jump off and kill your opponent super early with a forward air and back air. Now, of course, this is very risky, as if you miss and if you fast fall, you're probably going to die first. And as well, if you go for one and your opponent hits you, you're probably going to die because you're bad at recovery. But if you hit your opponent and they don't hit you back, you'll be getting a super early kill. And it's one of those things that you kind of have to decide if you want to go for or not. But if you get good at doing it, Roy can actually edgeguard pretty darn well. Another thing to mention here is that Roy is honestly really scary to play against, and your opponent will definitely be afraid of you as playing this character. Roy is a fast, hard-hitting combo beast that can just decimate stocks at low percents with his early kill moves. Keep this in mind while using this character, and use that pressure to scare your opponent into making defensive options, and then punish those options when they try to use the same options again and again. Finally, you should keep in mind that while you're playing Roy, you're playing a character that is very high risk, high reward, even for a sword fighter. He of course has all these benefits I've mentioned, but as well you have to keep in mind that you will die quite early due to your bad recovery, you'll get comboed really badly due to your weight and height, and sometimes you just can't get people off of you. He is a double-edged sword character, but personally that makes him one of the most fun to watch and fun to play characters in the entire game, and for myself, you know, it's worth it to get all that. The first thing I would do in trying to pick up Roy as a character, other than of course just learning basic spacing, which you have to do quite a bit as all the sword characters, is to look up and practice different combos and strings. Now Roy has a huge variety of moves that link one to another, but a lot of them are pretty percent specific, and as well, you kind of have to learn how every single move links into every other move. If you don't, he just won't really make that much sense, and you honestly won't be getting that much results from all your offensive plays. You just can't do the same combo every single time you hit someone like you can with certain other characters. So put in the time and learn the basics of his combos either from the Roy Discord link down below or from training mode on a lot of different characters at a lot of different percents. A final tech that I wanted to mention as Roy that I think is personally really cool and will probably eventually be used by quite a bit of Roy players is learning how to do a wave bounce bouncing blade in order to go further off stage for edge guards and still being able to make it back to the ledge and be living. Now, this is a new thing that's been, not been used that much by that many Roy players, but I think honestly is going to be really great by adding a lot of range to these edge guards and making them a lot more potent. Now, of course, this still doesn't get rid of the risk of going for edge guards as Roy, but it does allow a lot of the stress of being off stage quite a bit less scary. Stress that I personally want to minimize as Roy while I'm playing, and overall a tech that I think would definitely be worth your time to learn, and one that really isn't that hard to do. And there you guys go, these are all the reasons why you should be maining Roy. Now if you have a certain character you want me to cover in the future, comment down below, hashtag that character name, why you should main, or WYSM. And of course, tell me maybe what you personally like about Roy, what your favorite part about him is, or maybe just what change you think is the most important to Roy in this new game. As well, make sure to hit that subscribe button or like if you want to see more like this in the future, as that really helps me. Check out Screen It Now as a playlist for more Smash Ultimate videos like this, specifically a why you should main on Ike, Lucina, and Chrom, so, pretty much every other firing character you could want, so that should help you out right there. Thanks again for watching, though, hope you enjoyed, and as always, guys, have a smashing day.